Hi guys, welcome back to another Liverpool update. I'm going to speak a little bit more often now just to keep the minutes down in the video so I can just expand a little bit more on the last couple of games rather than trying to cover 4 or 5 at once. So we'll see how that works out for you guys. In terms of this update, we've got 2 matches to discuss. Atalanta away in the Champions League and Manchester City also away in the Premier League. So starting on that trip to Italy, obviously I've not seen a performance like that in a while. That's the best Liverpool performance I've seen in probably a year. Absolutely superb. Really, really impressed. Jota obviously did start the game. We were wondering, would it be Firmino, would it be Jota? Obviously, Jota's been in good form in the Premier League, scoring a couple of winning goals against West Ham and Sheffield United. So, yeah, he started really, really strongly again, didn't he? He got us on our way, 1-0 up. A great little dink finish over the goalkeeper. And then, yeah, his second goal, brought it down on his left and finished with his right, which was superb and probably my favourite of the 3 he scored to put us 2-0 up. From there, we just kind of didn't let Atalanta off underneath our foot, weren't they? We just kept the gas firmly planted to the floor. Atalanta pushing for a way back into the game in the second half. And Curtis Jones finds Salah, who just uses his epic speed all the way through, cuts inside, curls it in, 3-0, pretty much done and dusted from that point. Massively underrated still, I think Mo Salah is an absolute top player. His numbers are insane. He's so fast, he's finishing, he's just brilliant. And I think a lot of us take him for granted a lot of the times. I've heard, people used to speak about, who would we drop out the front 3 if we had to pick, who would we sell? And it was always Mo Salah's name, and I never really understood why. He's so important to this team. He's as important as Van Dijk, in my opinion. So luckily we didn't miss him in that game, Van Dijk. But yeah, a great goal from Salah. 4-0 it was. Sadio Mane with a typical little dink finish over the outcoming keeper. And yeah, then Mane found Jota again, went around the goalkeeper and finished nicely for 5-0. So quite incredible, really. I mean, Atalanta were poor. But they did get to the quarterfinals last season, so they're a good side. Obviously our European experience told, and away from home has not really been our strong point either in Europe. So I was really, really pleased to see that performance. Really, really, really good. So we top our Champions League group with 3 wins out of 3, 9 points done. Pretty much there now. We've got Atalanta now at home, which you would think we'd win. We've also got Ajax at home and Midtjylland away. So potentially we could win all 6. If we win 5 and draw 1, or draw a couple, we're still going to go through and probably going to top the group as well. So yeah, we'll have a look closer to the time who potential opponents could be in that last 16 round, depending on who's runners up, who's from which country, because there's one more round of country protection in the first knockout round. So for example, if Man City, Chelsea, United come second and we come top, we can't play them. So, we obviously can't play the team in our own group. So it's then only narrowed down to 4 potential teams, potentially. So we'll see nearer the time. So other than that, we moved on to pretty much the hardest game of the season in the Premier League, away to Man City. Difficult one, always going to be difficult. Difficult to predict the team lineup as well. Basically, we were thinking it's going to be 4-3-3. It's going to be Henderson, Wijnaldum, and one of Keita, Milner, and Curtis Jones. And up front, it's going to be Mane, Salah, and one of Jota or Firmino. He ended up going with a 4-2-3-1, which was actually pretty bold away to Man City. So he played all of the front 4. Henderson, Wijnaldum in midfield, Firmino in the 10, Jota, Firmino, and Salah, Jota, Mane, and Salah as the front 3. Which, yeah, took me by surprise, but you're not going to just. Our record at City is not great in the league, so if you're gonna lose, at least go for it, I guess. So that was cool. But yeah, it started well. Kyle Walker brought down Mane for a penalty, and Salah doesn't really miss, so that was 1-0. And then yeah, that's where it kind of went a bit wrong. We just sort of took our foot off the gas, kind of just relaxed because we were playing really, really good football. Let Man City back in the game. Let De Bruyne get on the ball. And a great ball into Jesus. Great turn to equalise. You got to think, would Van Dijk have let someone turn him like that? Potentially not. So that's the kind of times we're missing him. We're also missing him up the other end with corners. He's a great threat for goals. in the other box. But yeah, 1-1. It could have been worse. De Bruyne absolutely battered the ball at Joe Gomez's arm as he was running back. Kind of hit his elbow, but his elbow was tucked in against his body, but a penalty was given. And to be fair, I'm past the fuming stage now of these ridiculous decisions. We know the rules. If it hits your arm, it doesn't matter if you mean it or not, it's a pen. So there was one in the Wolves-Leicester game just before, which was even closer in terms of where the ball was kicked to where the player's arm was. How you're supposed to react and get your arm, I'm not sure where your arm's meant to go. Like, if your arm's out and it hits your arm, around the forearm area, then and on your hand, and yes, it's a pen. Get your arms down. But if your elbow's tucked into your side, sort of like this, and it hits your elbow there, I think that's very harsh, and it's not deliberate. And if his arm's not there, would it hit his body anyway? Was it denying a goal scoring opportunity for Manchester City? I don't think it was. So, number one, yes, I agree it was a penalty based on the rules, but number two, I don't agree with the rules. I think the handball kind of rule needs to be looked at again. I think the word deliberate needs to be put in there as well, because if it just hits an arm and it's not denying a goal scoring opportunity or it's accidental, how can you be given a penalty for that? It's crazy. So that's disappointing, but maybe justice was done. De Bruyne didn't even hit the target, which was fairly unlike him. But yeah, Jota wasn't obviously as good as he had been in the past, but Firmino was again taken off, which again didn't really play as to the levels we've come to expect over the last kind of 2 years. But yeah, it's a shame. I think personally, I think we've all jumped on him a bit too soon. I probably am guilty of that as well. I was watching the new season review that came out from last season on DVD. It's available in the Liverpool store. I've watched August to October 2019, and seeing Firmino back then playing with confidence, scoring goals, headers, assists, Rabonas, flicks, tricks. I really miss that. I really miss seeing him play that well. It's he's still in the team, but he's not done any of that for a while, and I think the goal scoring has really hurt his confidence. So maybe playing him in a number 10 role would help him, and having a Jota, Mane, Salah in front to score some more goals. I listened to Jamie Carragher on TalkSport with Adrian Durham, and they're making the point where the goal scorers for Liverpool are basically Mane and Salah. Who else scores? Firmino doesn't score consistently. Jota now has started to. The midfield three, when they're fit, Fabinho, Wijnaldum, Henderson, not really going to get over 5 goals each a season. Van Dijk potentially could get in and around 5 if he played all season from corners. Trent and Robbo pop up now and again, but realistically aren't probably going to score more than 5 goals a season. So it's only really Mane and Salah that you're getting 20 goals plus from in the league, and maybe 30 in all competitions. So yeah, I think adding another goal scorer in there, Jota, I think is really, really good. And I think Firmino sees his role now as he reaches his sort of late 20s, early 30s as more of a creator than a goal scorer. Then, fine, let him play in that number 10. And maybe we don't need to play a midfield three all the time. Henderson and Fabinho are usually the go-tos. We had quite a lot of injuries this season. It's Fabinho, Van Dijk, Thiago's not really got going yet either. So it's difficult. If everybody's fit, Oxlade-Chamberlain, another one, you almost have to play a midfield three, because there's so many of them that if you start playing only 2, Keita, half of them aren't even going to get game time. Jones, Milner, you're going to have to let some go. So I think it's a good option to have a couple of formations up your sleeve, not be so predictable, play with a number 10 at times, because a lot of teams will just sit on Trent and Robbo. And now, obviously, Alexander-Arnold picking up that injury around the hour mark at the Etihad. He's going to be out for 4 weeks. So that creativity from that side is now not going to be there. Whether it's Milner filling in or Nico Williams, it's not the same. And whenever one of those 2 fullbacks aren't there, you can tell they only really work together. So I would like to see a lot more of the 4-2-3-1 now, with a bit more creativity from the 10, whether that be Firmino, whether that be Shaqiri, just to kind of give us another creative spark, because without Trent in that team, he's such a big player for assists, even taking corners as well, that he's going to be a miss over the next month. We've got a big game against Leicester, who are currently top of the league at Anfield, is in our next match. So yeah, I mean, if a Williams or a Milner fills in there, you've only really got Robertson trying to create. If you go for a midfield three of Henderson, Wijnaldum and Jones, or Milner or Keita, there's not much creativity in there. Whether Thiago's fit to come back in, he's definitely a creator. Could he come in to that midfield three potentially for that game? Hopefully, as I said, he's not really got going yet. And then you've got the option up front again, haven't you? Do you obviously Mane and Salah are a no-brainer, but do you play Jota? Do you play Firmino? Do you play all four? I think potentially you could do if he plays it away to City. Why would he not play it at home to Leicester? So we'll see. I don't think Thiago will go straight back in as a starter after the international break, having not played many minutes. I don't think Keita, Jones and Milner are quite as favoured as Firmino. Sorry. So yeah, potentially we could see the 4-2-3-1 at home to Leicester in the next game, based on injuries that are picked up in that international break. But whether he'll go, I mean, Nico Williams was a go-to for right back for a while, and yeah, obviously this season he didn't start quite so great. Didn't come on against Man City either. Klopp preferred Milner to fill in at right back there. So yeah, I think something similar. I would expect to see James Milner fill in at right back for Trent for a few weeks. Everybody else, hopefully Gomez and Matip stay fit as well. And then yeah, I think you're probably going to see a Henderson, Wijnaldum, Firmino in the 10, and a Jota, Mane, Salah front three at home to Leicester. So they're a point ahead of us. Same games played. It's nice that we kept the gap to Man City. They've got their game in hand, but would still only go 2 behind us if they won it. So yeah, a big game against Leicester. I remember last season Milner scoring a 90th minute pen, which was a big moment in the season to win the league. So yeah, I look forward to that match. Prediction wise, Jamie Vardy, yes, is a top player. Maddison is a top player. But player for player, we are better than them, even without Van Dijk. They are a good team. Are they a top 4 team over a season? Potentially, probably not, in my opinion. I think they're probably going to come around the 5th and 6th area again. Top 4, you're looking Liverpool, City, Chelsea probably as well, of picking up some form. And potentially Spurs if they manage to, get in a bit of flow. Kane and Son and Bale. That would probably be my prediction for the top 4 currently. I think United obviously are in the conversation, depending on which one turn up. Well, will they be 4th, 5th? Around that kind of area. Arsenal for me aren't anywhere near. As I said, Leicester are. Wolves not as good as I thought they were going to be again. Taking Jota out of that team seems to have made a big difference to them. So yeah, there's teams in and around, but yeah, I think the top 4 of City, Chelsea, Liverpool and Spurs is my early prediction at least. It will all depend on who goes through in Europe. I know Spurs are playing in the Europa League, which isn't always easy doing the Thursday, Sunday, but yeah, that'll be, there'll be a break from December, late December through to kind of Feb, with no Champions League football, no Europa League football. So once you're through that period, you get to kind of see where everybody is, the title challenges, the top 4 race, and as you say, the relegation as well, which I don't tend to talk about too much because it's not really, to do with Liverpool as much. But again, that's looking interesting. You've got Sheffield United down there, Burnley, West Brom, Fulham and Brighton. I think 3 of those 5 probably going to go, pretty obviously. Which 3, it's difficult to say. I mean, Sheffield United, based on what they did last year, you would think would get out of it, but Brewster needs to start scoring some goals for them, and I think people have worked them out. It's that second season syndrome, isn't it? So I think I would expect Sheffield United to have enough. Burnley, again, are down there. Usually they always seem to pull it out the bag. Can they do it this year? I'm not so sure. There's just no quality in there whatsoever, so I think Burnley will be very close. West Brom, I think, will be gone. I don't think they've got enough quality. I think Fulham as well, over a season, they're just not enough. And Brighton, always flirting, but I think, again, it depends on Mulpay. If they get him back in the team and scoring goals, he could be the difference. So I think Burnley West Brom and Fulham currently would be my prediction for the bottom three. We'll see what happens over the next few weeks in that regard. But yeah, that was just a quick little catch up. Obviously, we've got the Leicester game coming up, and then the Champions League restarts again as well. So I'll do another video after the next couple of games. Take care and see you soon.